Take it there, who gon' take it there, who gon' take it there, who gon' take it there? Electricity, 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 electricity. You know what's in the air, you know what's in the air, you know what's in the air, you know what's in the air. It's possibility, it's possibility, it's possibility, it's possibility.
So I wanted to check in with Ana Kasparian because I'm curious. I haven't heard anything from her in a while. She hasn't been popping up in the headlines like she was, and I'm sure she will. Normally, every couple weeks or so, she kind of goes on a Twitter rant and, you know, insults some people and kind of rabble-rouses a little bit. So that's always fun to talk about. But I was also just kind of curious about what her position is on things right now, because, you know, there's their coverage on TYT, but normally the takes that like are really sitting heavy on her heart are the ones that come out on her Twitter. And I was curious about where she's sitting right now, because Trump's agenda and rolling out of Project 2025 is intensifying right now. And Ana, at this point, famously downplayed Project 2025, said it's ridiculous to think that Trump would implement that. And then he did it. So Ana, you know, to her credit, admitted she was wrong about that. Then she tried to put out this, in her mind, scathing reprisal of the Majority Report, which honestly, I just don't think they ever responded to. I think they might have joked about it a little bit on the program, but I don't think they issued any kind of response, which is probably the best way that they could have responded. And looking back, I think I can understand why, which is that there really wasn't that much of substance to respond to in her video that she made. So I put out a video about that. There's other videos about that if you want to go check that out. But I was really just curious where she's at right now, because the fact that she backed off of downplaying Project 2025 is kind of what sparked that round of drama between them. Majority Report kind of teased her a little bit and did an I Told You So segment about Project 2025, and then that was when she responded with her Majority Report diss track. So I just was curious to see where she's at when it comes to issues like immigration and the gutting of the administrative state. And so she is covering those things, at least on Twitter. You know, I saw her retweeting some information about people that Trump's deporting, American citizens being deported, and she was retweeting some stuff from Glenn Greenwald, which is interesting. And then, you know, some other stuff about Gavin Newsom and California, and, you know, her usual gripe about homelessness in California. And essentially, she just really hates Gavin Newsom and talks about him a lot. And so I sort of get that, because a lot of people hate Gavin Newsom. I also live in California. I'm not from California like Ana is, but, you know, living here, you definitely sense the resentment under the surface against Gavin Newsom for a whole myriad of reasons. And I think I don't have as strong of an opinion on him as other people do. My impression of him is not great. But I think, you know, for the most part, these guys are not really in control. I mean, being a governor is an executive position, so a lot of the funding issues and money getting allocated to different places in California does directly come from Gavin Newsom. But I mean, when it comes to like a disaster response, you know, that's not really something that I think the fires in California pretty much went the way they did, regardless of who was in charge. I don't think there's anybody in charge who could have made that less of a problem. Maybe somebody could have been a little bit more prepared. You know, there is some accusations that there were like fire engines that weren't being used, etc. But then at the same time, we're pulling all these people from prisons to go and fight these fires. So it's not like we have infinite personnel to go fight fires. And a lot of that has to do with the fire budget being cut, which Ana has mentioned before. But where did that money go? That money went to the police. The police got a budget increase, while pretty much everything else got a budget decrease, including the LA Fire Department. So there was a fire chief that was fired over this, and a lot of fallout. Honestly, Karen Bass is the one who took a lot of the heat, and she seems to have decided to fire the fire chief. Somebody's head was going to roll, and it seemed like Karen Bass decided, instead of me, it's going to be this fire chief, who she said did not communicate with her properly, etc. And then Gavin Newsom is pretty much the one who took the shellacking on the national stage, right? So he became the punching bag for everybody who was not in California, who got to look at California and say, look at what's happening, look at what Gavin Newsom is doing in California. And so Ana Kasparian's kind of doing a version of the same thing, where she is, laying all of this at the feet of Gavin Newsom. And in some sense, I can respect where she's coming from on that, just because, like I said, she's from here, so I know that there are valid frustrations with Gavin Newsom. However, it all seems kind of nebulous. I haven't really, there's accusations of misappropriating funds when it comes to homeless people, right? Like, one of the things that she's pointed out is that we spend all this money in California on eradicating the homelessness problem, and now there's more homeless people than there were before. And so it's valid to point to those numbers and say, what the fuck is going on here? I just don't really get what Anna's alternative solution is that she wishes the leadership of California was doing. She has not talked a lot about that. And she seems to think that this money that was allocated towards the homeless should be allocated in different places. She mentioned recently in one of these tweets, rapidly declining material conditions in California, which is a funny turn of phrase. I mean, what she's trying to do there, she's trying to do the leftist tradition of focusing on material conditions. Okay, so that's fine. Laying rapidly worsening material conditions at the feet of Gavin Newsom is a bit strange, or even Karen Bass, because even if you don't think these people are doing a good job, even if you think they're wasteful, whatever, the things that they are investing in, like homelessness and different social programs, are things that people wanted them to invest in. That's what they were elected to do. That's why they're there. And so not only is it really not that surprising that they put a bunch of money towards that, maybe even in an overly aggressive way where some of it got wasted, or there's some of these programs might not be legit or whatever. This isn't a deep dive about that, although maybe I will do one of those at some point. But I just don't really see what it is that she wishes they were doing. And so there's a sense of she's just kind of railing. She seems almost a little bit deranged about Gavin Newsom. It's like Gavin Newsom derangement syndrome, which is silly because I think the whole derangement syndrome is just a meme. But this is a person, Anna herself, has started buying into this meme of Trump derangement syndrome and accusing other people essentially of approaching politics from that stance. This because she is, moving to the right. She's talking to more people on the right, so she feels kind of enlightened. She feels like she's out of her bubble and has a better grip on reality, when really she's just talking to people who lie for a living. So you might be able to get a sense of what people who lie for a living and what people who listen to people who lie for a living believe about the world. And that is getting out of your bubble. Is that having a better grip on reality? No, I don't think it is. So there's the problem that Anna doesn't really seem to, it's like she cares about the homeless, I presume, at least from a starting position. Maybe she's gotten to the point now where she doesn't care about that and she just wants them out of her way. A lot of people in California feel that way. And I guess that's why I'm zeroing in on this, because I think Ana Kasparian very well could represent a next generation of Californian leadership, because I know she's not the only person in this state that feels that way. And I think what it is it's a reactionary trend that's happening within California, within so-called progressives, Democrats, whatever. And you're seeing this from Gavin Newsom now as well. So my point is that, it seems like Gavin Newsom and California in general, but specifically Newsom, is responding to exactly what Ana Kasparian and people like her are wanting. You know what I mean? Like when homelessness was the number one issue that needed to be solved, California took an aggressively progressive angle on it and said, we're going to put as much money into solving this problem as we possibly can. Turns out that didn't work, or some of that money was misallocated, or whatever happened. And like I said, I'm not doing a deep dive into this, but that's a subject that I'm interested in. I've also never seen really a deep dive from Ana Kasparian. I've seen her talking about how this money was misallocated, how this NRO or this homeless organization was crooked, and that's how they're tied in with, whatever, the crookedness of the state. They've done a lot of coverage about that. But the point is, what is it about the policy that's not working? Is it not working? How can we take the things that are working and bias the policy towards that so that there can be a better outcome? Because what I'm getting from this complaining and this vitriol towards not just Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, but these homeless programs specifically, is it just, people like Ana Kasparian want to push Gavin Newsom in a different direction. They want them to go a different way. And so when you see Gavin Newsom talking to Steve Bannon, talking to Charlie Kirk, doing this whole podcast spectacle, starting with those two people, first two episodes are fucking Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon. So like, there's real questions to ask about like, what the hell is he doing? And, Ana Kasparian also commented on that, saying that I don't care if he's having naughty conversations and talking to people from the right. She's saying it's a good thing. That's what he should be doing. And that's interesting to me because I feel like it contradicts. There's a contradiction here, and I'm really trying to wrap my head around it and grasp what it is that Ana wants California leadership to be doing, or people in general in California to be doing, progressives, Democrats. Like, what is it that she wants from them that she's not getting? Because all of us could talk about things that we want from Democrats that we're not getting. And some of the complaints that Ana has when it comes to Democrats seem to be similar to what the rest, we want them to stand up against Trump, to show less cowardice, etc. Except in the same breath, Ana is downplaying, Trump derangement syndrome, or she's saying Trump is going to go after the most important safety net programs next. And then, at the same time she's saying that that California is so wasteful because they care more about social programs than like whatever calculated policy. There was some tweet that I saw about that. And that's where I just don't understand, because the social programs are exactly what Trump is going after. Social programs is Social Security and the safety net programs that Ana is talking about. And if you're talking about the increasing amount of homeless people in California, it's undeniable that that was the opposite result that they were trying to get, except for the fact that there is a reason that California is more attractive to homeless people than other states. California has a lot of homeless people that are not from California. And that's not because they all moved here to pursue their dream and then failed and became homeless. A lot of homeless people who are already homeless go to California because not only is it the best place to sleep outside, but it's also a place where there are more amenities and services if you're homeless. So that potentially, I'm not saying that does, I know that contributes to the fact that there are more homeless people in California. And it's possible that part of the result of, some of these programs and there being more homeless people here over time rather than less is that homeless people are coming here because there's more for them here. It's warmer and they're able to get their hands on more services. It's easier to access services. It's easier to walk in someplace and get some kind of direction. And it's not like that in other states. I come from Ohio, and it's not like that. There are less homeless people because there are less people. And, the homeless people that are there, the amount of hoops that they have to jump through to get to any type of support, which is minimal, is enormous. And so, if I was homeless in Ohio or some other Midwestern state, I would probably come to California because it's just a more appealing place to be if you're homeless. And so there is something to be solved for there, especially if homelessness programs in California are part of the reason that more homeless people are attracted. I don't see that as contradictory to the idea of helping homeless people, but it is something that needs to be addressed. If the aim is to bring down homelessness, and by making, your infrastructure one of the most accommodating to homeless people, you actually attract them from different parts of the country. That's something that you need to consider in your policy making. But even that is just way more detailed than anything we've ever heard from Ana Kasparian. So, I mean, I just want to know, like, if there's any chance she hears this, I want to know, like, what is it that you want to be done about homeless people? What is it that you want the Democrats to be doing? Because the way I see it, you know, Governor Newsom going and talking to Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk is a direct result of exactly the kind of commentary that Ana Kasparian does. She's the one pushing him towards those people, because he hears people like Ana Kasparian and he's saying, wow, even supposedly the left is getting mad at me from a left-wing perspective or a reactionary perspective. And they're saying now people like Ana Kasparian, who have criticized me from the left for years, are now saying that I need to be more right-wing, I need to be more austere, I need to stop spending money on social programs. And so that's where they're going to go to the architects of the Trump movement to try to figure out, what is it about the politics that you guys offer people, really just the rhetoric that they offer people, because politically they offer people nothing other than rich people. But rhetorically, what is it that you're offering people that makes them view you as populist, even though what you actually are is the opposite of populist? How do you pull that sleight of hand? That's why I perceive Governor Newsom as talking to these people, because he wants to know how can he respond to the increasing reactionary pushback against him. And Ana Kasparian is part of that. So again, whether it's, you know, putting a bunch of money into trying to solve the homelessness problem, or it's talking to Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon, both of these things seem like reactions to exactly what the Ana Kasparian wing of the Democratic Party, or the left, or whatever, wants them to do. None of it is confusing from the perspective of, like, why is this happening? Why are they doing this? And I don't know. I guess there's just something very nebulous and contradictory and hard to wrap my head around in terms of what it is that Anna's problem with the leadership of California is. Because a lot of people's problem with Gavin Newsom is that he is anti-homeless. He went and did this whole thing recently. He did like a photo op where he's clearing out the streets of homeless people's belongings because he wants to get in there and roll up his sleeves and be a part of the solution. This was a pivot from their more supposedly accommodating approach to homeless people. Gavin Newsom did this kind of dark turn where he said, like, I'm gonna, you know, it's time, you've had enough time, it's time to get in there. He did that before the election because he was trying to, you know, put that. So it's like they do things like that to respond to people like Ana Kasparian, reactionaries. And I think probably Gavin Newsom is feeling more pressure from reactionaries like that. And so just like Trump and Project 2025 and, you know, general distaste with Democrats, I think Ana Kasparian, you know, if you want Gavin Newsom out, if you want new leadership in California, that's good and well and fine. But be careful with this reactionary critique, because if you're pushing them out based on that basis, thinking that somebody like Rick Caruso is going to come in instead and do a better job, I mean, you got another thing coming. There's a reason that all of the poorest and least well-run and least accommodating states in the nation are run by Republicans. And it's because Republican policies result in that. And, you know, you could argue that Democratic policies have negative results as well. I would argue that some of the negative things that we've seen happening in California are more just about the sheer size of it and the amount of money, both tax money that goes out and tax money that gets allocated to different things. Like, it's an enormous amount of money and people, you know? So a large part of the homelessness disparity in California comes just from that. There's more fucking people here, and it's not that livable. And she's right in a sense that material conditions make it so that there are a lot more poor people than there are rich people in California. And some of those poor people end up homeless. But again, it's like, the only way to solve that is progressive policy. Seriously, even if the homelessness approach was a failure, you're not going to create a more equitable California without somebody like Gavin Newsom, or more progressive than he is, who wants to aggressively address some of those problems. And I do remember that Karen Bass came in on that pretense that she was going to aggressively address homelessness. And it's possible that there's been some waste there, but my perspective on it is that that's what she was elected to do. And these things don't get solved overnight. And I think in general, politicians never get enough time to do anything because it's hard. And like it's always just the narrative turns. You know what I mean? It's like Karen Bass gets in, she puts all this money into homelessness. A couple years pass, homelessness hasn't been solved. And then the fire's happening. Karen Bass is evil. She's dumb. She's stupid. She's the worst. And so she gets kicked out. And then it's somebody who's going to reverse all of those policies. Exact same thing we're seeing happen on the federal level, which Ana seems to have some dim awareness is a problem. So, I don't know. I've rambled about this for 20 minutes now. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, just more incoherence from Ana Kasparian. And I would really like her to clarify, like, what it is that she wants Democrats or politicians at all to be doing. You know, because if it's just Republican policies, if you just want conservative Republican policies, there's a whole party for that. And you should just go over there. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you really want to support, consider becoming a member. That's the best way to support this channel. I'm going to be posting all kinds of stuff there, like exclusive songs, exclusive podcasts, book reviews, movie reviews. If you like the beats that play in the back of these podcasts, all of that's going to be posted there and more. If there's other ideas that you have for exclusive content that you'd like to see, let me know and we'll try some things out.